Strive for improvement, time for the blueprint. Minds to elevate, thrive, and demonstrate, planting a movement. Sow the seeds, educate the flourish, building up the team. Our network with purpose, industry is green. Only scratch the surface, know this call is deep. Nobody gon' outwork us. Yeah, we chasing greatness, trying to give the code. Moving up with patience, foundation stone. Doing what it takes, we're here to break the mold. This for anyone who wanna level up. Let's grow.
Welcome to episode 58 of the Plant Movement Podcast. I am your host, Willie Rodriguez. If this is your first time tuning in, hold on tight because you're in for a treat. If you're a returning listener, thank you. We love you guys. You already know this episode's gonna bring that fire. On today's episode, we have the honor of interviewing the CEO and president of the largest Kubota dealer in the United States of America, Florida Coast Equipment. This interview is powerful, so turn your volume all the way up, put your phone on silent. This is one of those episodes that can really change the way you do business. It doesn't matter where you are in the green industry, this one is for you. Let's grow. Today, guys, we have a big player in the house. We have Mr. Todd Bachman with his big blue eyes. What's up, man?
Good to be here.
So this guy touches so many different things, and it's literally a blessing, bro, because you know how valuable time is, and you are here spending some of it with us in the studio to create opportunities for everyone out there. Guys, he is the owner of the largest Kubota dealer in the nation, so big congrats to that. Florida Coast Equipment. You also own another company called Big Orange Rentals, what's that, heavy equipment, correct?
No, we just rent what we sell.
Okay,
so,
you rent what you sell.
It's mainly good orange equipment.
So if you need Kubota and you only need it for one specific job, you're not going to use it all the time. You guys already know. So it's just crazy to have you here, man.
It's good to be here. I'm excited.
I want to start off the podcast learning about you, your backstory. How did you even, get to this point in your life? What you did prior. You worked for some of the biggest organizations in the United States. Talk to us about it. And let's just run through the past, 40 years of your life in the next 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, look. So first of all, you get here by, Thomas Jefferson says, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I really fell into that. So the way I ended up, obviously I came from politics and boxing where my first place is. First things I did, I started off, went to a tiny little college in North Carolina, Catawba College, ran for student government president, which seemed kind of not important, but really turned out to be one of the most important things I ever did. While I was student government president, got a call one day from Elizabeth Dole's campaign. She was actually from Salisbury, North Carolina, where I went to school, and they needed an intern. And I said, hey, I actually would love to do this intern. Ended up interning with Elizabeth Dole's campaign. Kind of an interesting story. She was supposed to announce her campaign for Senate on September 11th.
Okay.
Clearly that did not happen. It was
Okay.
September
It was
11th,
that same day.
2001.
Okay.
It was that same day. So she doesn't announce. Fast forward, she decided to do the kickoff at Catawba College where I went to school. We hoped to have a couple thousand. We got, I think there were 7,000 or 8,000 people that showed up for her campaign. And in turn, I ended up being able to go to work for her. I did my last semester of college, both working for her and being a part of that campaign. What ended up being the biggest campaign in the country that year. When she won, that was the first time the Republicans had taken the Senate in a long time. Okay. So it was a big run. And then just kind of a lot of things unfolded after that. The guy that was the general consultant of that campaign ended up becoming the chairman of the RNC. I went to the RNC with him, and we did a couple of re-elections, including George Bush's re-election. And so just kind of ended up in this world. Literally went from college on an 800-person campaign or to 800-person college into this kind of crazy political world. And where I learned is, you just never know who you were in the room with. And what I learned is that when you get into those rooms, you shut up, you listen, and you find out who the players are and what made them players. And so I had just this incredible access to really successful people, and I was able to watch them. And kind of one of the funniest stories, and kind of how I got to tractors, is that when I was at the RNC, got a call one day from the finance department, and they said, "Hey," because everything that went through the chairman at the time RNC, everything kind of went through my desk and said, "Hey, get this to him or get that to him." And one of the questions came and said, "Hey, we just got this check from Don King. Do we cash it?" And I said, "Man, why are you asking me? They go, well, this is going to be controversial. And I said, well, how do you know it's the Don King? And they go, well, there's a crown on the check. And I go, okay, clearly we need to have a conversation. So I put in a call to his office thinking that there was a guy like me on the other side and said, hey, I'd love to sit down and talk. What's Mr. King want to be involved? And they said, oh, he's in D.C. Again, I thought it was someone like me. I walk into a room, and I was probably 21 or 22. I had a shaved head at the time because we were running crazy on the campaign, and I had no time. And I walk into the room, and Don King is at the end of the table. And he goes, I am the greatest promoter to ever live. I'm the P.T. Barnum of the 21st century, and I'm here to get George Bush reelected. I go, I probably am not the guy that needs to talk to you. So I went and I got the chairman, and we ended up having this meeting. And here's a really crazy story. You can fact check this. Don King ended up doing about 28 African-American events throughout the country, but the most of them were in Ohio. Nationwide, George Bush got 9% of the African-American vote in this election. He got 11% in Ohio. Had he gotten 10% in Ohio, he would have lost Ohio and lost re-election. So got to work with Don King there, ended up doing a campaign in Arkansas, and that just kind of, actually the guy got sick and died in the middle of the campaign. It was a Rockefeller. When Rockefeller, his dad had been the guy that had desegregated Arkansas, a really cool guy, got sick and passed away.
Wow.
But I went to work with Don after that, and that was just insane. Like there's no other way to describe it. I mean, there was no other way to describe it. I'll never forget. This is people will not believe this, but this is true. One week, we had lunch at George Bush's house in Texas. We had lunch with Louis Farrakhan in Chicago, and we marched with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton all in the same week. And and it was just wild, but it was an experience to say the least. But what I kind of learned is, so if you go back, like I've worked with Don, I've worked with Elizabeth Dole, I've worked with Ed Gillespie, I've seen some of like the best players in the business, and it was completely invaluable, because what I realized from those guys is, one, they all work their ass off. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You cannot replace elbow grease. Two, they all looked for really, really smart people around them. And then three, they were fearless. Like they were not afraid to fail. And so being around that kind of made it easy for me to do what we've done, is that we're fearless. We make way more mistakes than what we get right. And we're willing to try stuff every single day. And so that's kind of what we love. That's what I learned there. When I was working with Don, I was traveling like crazy, doing all types of crazy stuff. My wife's family, we were not married at the time, but we were getting ready to get married. I was traveling a ton. I promise you, being in Vegas for a month is not good for anyone's soul. And it's sure not good for your soul, not good for your health, nothing. And so my wife and I decided I was going to join the family business at the time. And so my father-in-law had started Florida Coast Equipment in the 80s.
Oh, your father-in-law.
My father-in-law started, and they had 3 dealerships at the time: Palm Beach, Stewart, Florida at that time.
Why'd you calm down from what you were at?
Man, it was...
You were having a family, you were starting a family?
I was starting a family, but just honestly, like it...
You saw the opportunity?
Look, I saw that I did not want to live on the road my entire life. And whether you're in politics or you're in boxing, it's just a lot.
And where you were, let's say the chair that you held, was it a chair that you were making like crazy money, or there was still opportunity for more?
For my age, I was making good money. I mean, I was in my 20s at this point, so I was making good money, but it wasn't life changing.
You were giving up a lot of time.
You had no control of your time. I mean, we would, I may leave home, which I think was for 3 days, and be home 28 days later and visit a couple cities, and you just never knew. I mean, Don King is the hardest working human being I've ever met in my entire life. And incredibly smart, but just worked his rear end off. You were never going to outwork him. And even, I think I was 25, 26 when I left, and man, he would outwork me. And I think I can roll pretty hard. So, but I needed to do this. I wanted to just try something. I gave my father-in-law 2 years, and that was 17 years ago.
Wow.
And so it's just been a crazy run.
And it was in Florida?
was in Florida. I had moved to Palm Beach. Don King's office is in
So
Deerfield.
you went from the Carolinas down to Florida.
Carolinas, D.C. for the RNC campaign in Arkansas, and then Little Rock, Arkansas to Boca Raton, Florida.
Boca
You can
Raton.
imagine.
And you're still there.
Still here. I've lived in about a 2-mile radius.
Ever since you
Ever
moved?
since then. Yeah.
So Florida Coast, one of my questions I was gonna ask is why Kubota, but now I know why, because Florida Coast was already tied up with Kubota.
Yeah, Florida Coast was one of the original Kubota dealers in the state of Florida, and once I saw the product, I saw kind of where we were going. Look, I got in this in 2007, so May 3rd, 2007 is when I started in the business. If you know anything about it, 2007 to 2009 was 60% decline in business.
That was another
it
question
was,
I had.
It was disastrous.
So one of my questions I had was how did you navigate that, and how did you navigate COVID? Because it was two completely different things, but there were big challenges that a company like your size, so the bigger you are, the harder you fall is a slogan. How did you guys handle that?
So we
Back
were
in 07,
not
09.
in 07, 09, pretty small company still. At one point, there was about 13. I think the entire staff during 2008 got down to 13 employees with 3 locations. My brother-in-law
that's crazy,
was
guys.
in Naples. Naples, that store today probably has 17 folks. It had 3
In one
folks.
store. Okay.
Yeah, there's 17, but we got down to 3 people there at one time. I still, to this day, have a 239 number. So I've always lived here, and 239 is Naples, but I was a salesman on both coasts. So I gave my 561 number out for the Palm Beach location and the 239 number. And so I had a little Jeep Patriot, and I would just drive back and forth constantly between the two
both
markets. And so I've still kept that 239 number, and I probably will never give it up because I was kind of a badge of honor to be able to go back and forth.
So one way based off what you said that you were able to get through 07, 09 is let go of people.
Yeah.
The payroll was the biggest situation at that time, the biggest expense.
Yeah, look, in our business, it's always payroll.
Yeah.
It's always payroll.
And with COVID, did you have shortages of tractors coming in, parts,
So
all that fun stuff?
COVID was crazy. So the night before the shutdown, I think I called every city commissioner, county commissioner, everything I could do to make sure we were an essential business. I knew that we were going to be essential under the federal law, but then when you're at this point, we had 80 employees. And so I thought, man, 80 employees telling, we had 4 locations at that time, Mims, Fort Pierce, West Palm, and then Naples, trying to tell each sheriff and getting to and from work. I just thought this is going to be crazy. Luckily, we got through that. And so what we originally did was the first week, at that point in time, I think we needed to do $1 million a week in business to break even.
Wow.
We did $100,000 the first week.
90%. That's something that I said. So, yeah, 90%.
So we did
We dropped 92.
So 100 grand. And so I came in immediately and said, hey guys, everybody, we're cutting 25% so that we don't have to cut anybody. We're cutting 25%. Here's the crazy part. Within 2 weeks, it was incredible.
Yeah.
We kind of went through this crazy run. And so it brought everybody back. And really in our business, everybody probably made more money and saw things that we had never seen before and will never see again. I surely hope we never see again. And then look, we got into massive supply chain issues, and the only way we navigated it was being honest. I mean, it was, hey guys, I know you need this. I might be 4 months, I might be 6 months, I don't know. But I was dead set on our people going, you don't tell someone we have something or that we're gonna get it unless you know. People have to plan because it just became insane. I'm sure you guys saw the same thing. It just became insane. And what I tell people is, look, we may not have great news, but we're going to at least tell you the truth because that way you can plan and prepare whatever it is you have to do. But when you got bad news, you got to give it quick. And so that's how we navigated it.
That I feel like is good. That brand loyalty and the truth will set you free. There's a lot of companies that they'll lie to you and they'll tell you, no, give me a few weeks, and you're calling and calling and calling.
Yeah.
And we experienced that with everything. Everything in life really was like that. But for you guys to be honest, it just goes to show, who Florida Coast is and why you guys are the brand that you are.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story about that. So we purchased a dealership. I won't tell you which one in the middle of COVID. And we showed up, and the sales folks came to us and said, hey, we got all these deals we need to get delivered. Well, we knew about half of the customers and had been on most of those deals and had just been open and honest. We can't get you the machine for X number of times, where they were like, well, we told them we can get it next week. Well, man, we've got 80 folks in line here in front of these guys. And we had actually told those folks that there were 80 folks in front of them, and you lied to them. Needless to say, none of those salespeople are still with us. They didn't make it through the transition.
Yeah, because and that's a big part too. Like, you guys, the culture that you've created, and the same way that you like to do things, getting that to the team. How have you built that extremely just powerful, hungry, goal-driven, let's get it done, be right, be honest culture?
Look, it is an ever-going process. So there's a guy by the name of Howard Schultz. If people are going to go, holy cow, what are you talking about? A guy. This is like the founder of the Ritz-Carlton. And he talks about non-negotiables. And, what are the non-negotiables at the Ritz-Carlton is that you never point to someone and say, this is where the bathroom is. You walk them over there. You greet them. You don't greet them 20 feet. You greet them within 10 feet. There's all these like small things. And it's taken me some time to get there. But what I've realized is you need to take 3 or 4 things and preach it every single day. And then once that becomes ingrained in the culture, then you can move on to the next, but constantly referring back to that. And so the first piece that we did is MSH, which stands for Make It Happen. And during COVID, there was just so much chaos. You couldn't have process. It couldn't be orderly. It was like, hey guys, we just got to come in and MSH. You just got to make it happen today. Like if we're doing that, we're making progress. So that's the first part. The second part, which again, we're continuing to get better at this, is you got to hire hungry people. You want smart people, you want capable people, and if they have experience, great. But man, if they don't have urgency, if they're not hungry, a guy recently told me, you can't hunt with a full belly. And it's so true. And so we want really hungry people that are just willing to work hard, that are willing to do the extra things. And look, this is easier said than done, accepting nothing but that. I can accept big mistakes. I can accept people trying and really screwing up. I can't accept failure to understand urgency. I can't accept not controllably controllable. I can control my attitude. I can't control your attitude. I can't control how you're going to react to me. I can't control supply chain, but I control that we care and we're going to work really hard to do our best. That's all I can control. If we do that, I think everything else will fall in line.
Yeah, that's very good at what you said. And also has a lot to do with so you don't just preach it, but you actually put it into play. So you being the head honcho, you're showing up, working hard, outworking everybody. That too sets the tone.
Yep.
Instead of just pointing and leaving, you're pointing, you're doing, you're showing, you're working, you're there. Everyone knows you're going. So wherever they're at, they can be restocking parts in the back. They know that Todd's somewhere making it happen.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a fine line there because you don't want to micro. You don't want to micromanage. If you just, because you want folks to be able to think on their feet, that they can see those things for you. And so there's a really fine line of kind of being micromanaging and that. But what I've decided is that when I look at kind of my role today, my role is to be 2 to 4 years down the road for the company. That's the big picture. But then the small picture is that I am obsessed with the details. When I walk into a dealership, the very first thing I do, I come in the back door. I want to see, first of all, are our technicians turning wrenches, and is the shop clean? That is the first. When I pull into a dealership, are we organized? Are the lines straight? Do we look good? Are we sending the right message? Are we organized? That's the first thing. So I come in the back door. First thing I'm going to do is talk to technicians. If the technicians are happy, then things are going well. I mean, they're the lifeline of our business. And so I want to stop in. I want to see our technicians. And look, I'm looking in the corners. I'm looking at the toolboxes. And because if we're doing the little things right, if the guy's keeping his workstation clean, if he's sweeping under there, I know when the machine is split, he's doing a good job on those things. And so we try to make sure that things are clean. And it goes back to the Giuliani theory of broken windows. If you allow a broken window, what else will you allow? And that's the way I look at it. If you allow for a dirty shop, well, man, that probably means you allow for an unsafe shop. It means you're disorganized, which means, man, I don't know how quickly I can get a machine back to a customer. And what I tell our folks every day, and they get sick of hearing this, is that people feed their kids off of the machines that we fix.
100%.
And if you don't look at it that way, whether it is a mower and a weed eater the guy feeds his kids with, or it's a company with 50 units, that company won't get hurt. But the one guy in that machine that feeds his family with that, he didn't get to work that day if we don't get it back. And so if you go at it with that empathy, and if you get up in the morning and you make a living off of your machine, like we say, Florida Coast is where you want to do business, and we try to get that driven every single day.
Well, it's all perspective, and the perspective that you bring to the table is humbleness, is doing the right thing, is looking out for others. And but dude, you hit it on the nail. There's a reason why Florida Coast is in the position that you guys are in. One of the things I had for you was inventory. How are you guys doing with inventory, the way you guys stock everything up and you have everything stocked up? And then I wanted to get into just Florida Coast, what you guys got going now for everybody listening, opportunities that you guys have, what's next. Talk to us about that. Inventory, you're pretty much stocked up on the common things, tractors, skid steers, mowers. But you guys do other things too. Kubota sells big decks to cut grass and sprayers and a bunch of stuff.
So inventory is better now than it has been since pre-COVID. There are still holes. This issue in the port is going to hurt all of us from time to time. But inventory overall, mowers are in good shape. Utility vehicles are still tough, but are in a much better situation than they've been in for a long time. Tractors under 100 horsepower, pretty readily available. Over 100 horsepower, things get tough. And that's kind of across the industry. We're seeing that inventory over that 100 to 160 horsepower is pretty difficult.
But that's already agriculture. That's big stuff.
It is, but it's highway mowing. It's
highway mowing.
The tractors you see mowing the highway is a lot of stuff what you see in some of the nurseries. You got to pull some of the bigger sprayers.
Okay.
It's there. But yeah, on the agricultural side, it's tougher. Track loaders, skid loaders, wheel loaders, for the most part, pretty available. And so overall, inventory is better than it has been in a very long time. What's key is keeping it fresh and clean. That they call it just-in-time inventory, but the last thing anybody wants is a piece of iron that's been sitting on a yard for a year.
That's rusty.
And so, one of the things that we're lucky to have now is at our scale, and I have a guy that does nothing but focus on getting inventory in. We try to keep 4 months supply on the ground at all times. So that way we can deliver in a pretty quick manner, get folks up and running as quickly as possible. And so, our goal is if you walk in and get a machine, we really would love to have it to you in a couple of days. And that can happen on the consumer side, but on the commercial side, anything less than a week, I really want to get it turned quickly. So we're able to have folks focused on that. But yeah, overall, we've got, look, I'll tell you this. We have about between $40 and $50 million on the ground at all 13 locations today. If you go back 2 years with those same 13 locations, there were times we were under 10 million. So it is dramatically improved.
Big time.
Oh,
big time.
Yeah.
And then now you guys are running specials. The specials that you guys run is Florida Coast, so that's Kubota giving you guys that incentive.
It's Kubota. So Kubota, look, one of the advantages is that Kubota and Deere are the only two tractor manufacturers. Actually, that's not true. I think New Holland as well. But they actually own their own financing. They have a finance company, so they're not having to go out to another bank and borrow that money. So yeah, Kubota has anywhere from zero down, 0% APR for up to 48 months on tractors, mowers, utility vehicles, and on construction equipment, you can go up to 60 months at 0%. Look, now, because inventory is up, there's simple supply and demand. This is a good time. If you're in the market, this is a good time to buy. Inventory is at a much better spot. The days of just taking orders. Look, one of the real struggles that we're going to have is if you've sold for us, and I'm openly sharing this with my sales team, so I'm not saying anything that I wouldn't say to them, is that, man, they have not had an easy job because it's incredibly cumbersome, continually telling people, hey, I'm 3 months out, I'm 4 months out. That part is hard, but at the end of the day, if we had a unit and we had a unit coming, we were able to sell it at a great margin without a ton of energy. It's flipped. We've got to go back out, make sure we're building our relationships, make sure we're staying in touch, and once again, tell why is it that you should buy orange, and more importantly, why you should buy orange from Florida Coast. customers have choices, and it's now time for our team to go back out and tell folks why we're the right choice for them. And for us to, look, we're not always the right choice. Sometimes we got to ask questions, and sometimes we got to walk away and say, hey, man, we're not the right dealer for you, and that's okay. We would like to be the dealer for everybody, but there are times where it's just not the right relationship, and so that's what our sales team is really having to do and kind of learn. And that's a different sales mindset than just taking orders.
It is. I feel like any brand you buy is going to work.
Yeah.
Any brand's going to get it done. It's going to dig the hole. It's going to move whatever you need to move. It's all there. Then there's brands that stand out to me, Kubota being one. I've always used Kubota. I actually bought a skid steer off you guys. That's how I met Jason down in Homestead for you guys looking to buy something locally. Reach out to Jason. And Kubota's awesome. It's Japanese, correct?
Yep.
So I love everything Japanese. They do a good job. But at the end of the day, it's all about the relationship. See, where you guys, the store that you bought up in Davie, before the gentleman I would talk to there, his name was Casey.
Yep.
Me and Casey had the relationship where I would just text him over some pictures. Hey, dude, I'm looking at this one. I'm looking at that one. I need 3 of this and 2 of that. And he'll tell me, no problem, Willie. I'll have it there. And give me a few days. I'll have it down there. And I would sign the paperwork here. That trust, that loyalty, that respect, that just going above and beyond for the client. Obviously, we had previous experiences together where I had purchased stuff. But that relationship that we had was priceless. So I wasn't looking at if John Deere was in my ear. It wasn't about that. You know, anybody, New Holly could be in this year. It's not about that. It's about that relationship that I already had with him, where nothing else mattered. And I feel like that is something that sets apart anybody from making a choice on their next set of whatever they're going to buy, is the relationship has a huge part in it.
It's paramount. You got to be able to trust everybody involved. Trust that we're not going to sell you something you don't need. Trust that we're going to do the repair. As we told you, that we're not going to tell you we need to do repairs, so we don't. Hey, the manufacturer's got to trust that we are investing in facilities, investing in technicians, so that we can represent their brand well.
Guys, so before we continue this episode, I just want to talk to you guys real quick. I know all of you guys are trying to grow. You're trying to extract so much out of all of these podcasts to be able to grow and put it towards your future. We just want to let you know some of the services that we offer here in-house where you can work with us. Let me let you know what they are. First one is A's Ornamental Nursery. You need plants anywhere through the state of Florida or anywhere really in the nation, reach out and we can make that happen for you. Gather it all up and deliver it right to you. 2, Plant Logistics. Plant Logistics, guys, is something we created to be able to get your product where you need it on time in the state of Florida. There's GPS tracking, so you get a text message letting you know when your delivery is on the way and when it arrives. Super cool, guys. Check it out, plantlogistics.com. Number 3 is the Nursery Growers, something we're super excited about, something brand new. It puts a plant doctor, which is known as a grower, in your nursery for a fraction, and I mean a fraction of the cost. Super cool. We cannot wait for you guys to start using it. Number 4 is the Plant Movement Podcast. Jump on the plantmovementpodcast.com to see all of the different things we offer. If you don't want to hear me talk about this anymore, you can jump on, be a sponsor. You're acting popping right here. The opportunities are endless. We do a whole lot more than just podcasting, guys. All this information will be down in the description below. Let's continue with the episode. Thank you, guys. Let's go.
But yeah, at the end of the day, from the majors, and if you're looking, Deere and Kubota, great machines. They're going to be there every day. What it comes down to is that who do you trust? Who's committed to your market? And dealers matter. When you get outside of the major brands, I would warn folks because it comes down to resale value. Mm-hmm. You know, that
too, yeah.
That Mahindra, that Coyote might be $5,000 less, but you're buying an asset. And when you buy a Coyote or a Mahindra or an LS, these are not products that carry high resale value. They don't have the dealer network. So when something goes wrong, where are you going to turn for parts? Where are you going to turn for service? And it's not a knock on those brands. They just don't have the dealer network that is committed to delivering superior customer service and unrivaled product support after the sale. Anybody can sell you a tractor. There's no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. Who is going to support you after the fact is what really matters.
That's what we always see. And that's the truth. Like with you guys, you make a phone call with the person that you have as a contact, that relationship, and they tell you, bring it in, and it's done. Hey, dude, it's done. 4 hours later. They jump on it. They get it done. Jason over there has been nothing but super awesome. Remember, guys, Jason, Florida coast down south, if you guys are there. and it's been really good. But relationships go back to that.
Yep. Look, and to go back to where we're talking about bringing in and hiring folks, Jason and Colin, who are over there, are two young guys that are killing it. And why? Because they care. Not because they know the machines inside and out. I mean, let's be honest, I got guys on my staff that know the machines much better. But those guys are up every morning hustling. And when somebody needs something and the shop's backed up, they're pushing the shop to get it done. They're working with parts. They're following up. It goes back to that. They got hungry bellies and they want to run after this, man. There's just nothing worse in the ag business than your old fat lazy salesman, because
see
he's
that a
not,
lot, man.
because he's not good for the company, he's not good for the customer, he's not good for the brand. And so it's important to be young.
No, and I want you guys to listen to that, because a lot of people leave the same guy there for 15 years. Eddie and I have gone places to go talk out and reach out to people. The guy's watching a video on his phone when you walk in and know, you know, like it's okay, you know, like yeah, like horrible. And it's like, what is this? Like, do they not see that anymore? They just let that go. And that's something that you see. I've been to countless places. I have other equipment, big backhoes and stuff, and I go to get parts, and people have a nasty attitude. They don't want to attend to you. They think that you owe them something. You know, you got to bring them donuts or a coffee or something to get their attention. For real, this is how it is. You know, you could just imagine the things that, you know, we've all had to do to like get in the door. That's what I see with the majority. So you guys that are listening to this, inspired by what he's telling you the 100% truth. Urgency has to be something, a topic that I bring up to Eddie all the time. I tell him, dude, people aren't urgent. They don't want to, they don't have that in them, you know. And then in this industry, I see a lack of that. So you guys that are hungry, that are urgent, that you really want to propel and you want to get things done quickly, creating opportunities and going after the opportunities, you know, urgencies is got to be on the top of the priority list.
Absolutely.
You know, because like, look at Todd. Todd wouldn't be where he is today if urgency wasn't one of the big things on his list. You have to be hungry. You have to go fast. You got to move quick. If you lose, who cares? It doesn't matter. You know, it's not about that. Like for me, I feel like the losses you learn, and you learn a lot. And I'd rather learn at, let's say, 1 mil than learn at 10 mil. You know, you learned that.
Yes. Two things to add to that. And I was watching the podcast the other day. They went through all of the failed ventures at Amazon. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Amazon Music, Amazon Travel.
The phone as well.
He wrote off $170 million
from that.
But none of us look at Bezos as a failure.
No.
But at the end of the day, the guy has failed miserably over and over again. That's who cares. Like, if you are trying, you're gonna fail. I mean, everybody knows about the Michael Jordan. I have no clue how many shots he missed, but it was an incredible amount of shots he missed. He actually missed more game winners than he made, but no one remembers that. They remember him as a winner, and that's because he's willing to take the shot. What is it? Babe Ruth struck out way. Has the most strikeouts of anyone, but yet no one thinks about that. And so you
player of all time.
You got to stay at it. And look back to the whole urgency and drive. I use this example in our dealerships all the time. If you went to Moe's like 4 or 5 years ago, when they were really kind of giving Chipotle a run, I mean, you'd walk in and people were like, "Welcome to Moe's," and it was exciting and the food was good. And it goes back to like when I talk about when you walk into a dealership, you can feel it. You go into Moe's today, it is as if they've all been smoking for a month. They're like, "Welcome to Moe's. The food is dry. The food is terrible.
It's horrible. Yeah.
It's awful."
Yeah.
But the minute you take your foot and your eyes off the little things, the big things follow. And it's not that they were giving this great welcoming, but I can tell you that the food was better when they were focused on the little thing at Moe's. And I bet you Moe's doesn't exist in 2 years, but it is because they've just lost that culture where, man, it used to be something, man. You'd walk in there and you were like embarrassed because they were like banging pots. It was like going to a sushi restaurant.
Yeah. Like, what the heck? Like when they sing happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely true. The little things mean so much more. They definitely do. No, it's exciting. You're a man that's been all over and done a bunch of things. I have a question for you. What has been one of the hardest things that you feel that you've had to overcome to build the business to be where it is today?
Number one thing is it's not about me. When you're 2-3 stores, you can muscle it. Customers call you, you can go to the back and rearrange things. You can make sure that the parts come in. You can make sure they get the quote. The most difficult thing is taking your vision and getting it throughout the company. We are still working hard on that every single day. I mean, and look, in order to do that, we have lunches with the entire company every month where we go through that. Every Tuesday morning at 7:15, we do a meeting with the entire company. It's a Zoom call. And it is just about culture, and it is about doing the little things right. And that's been the hardest thing, because in this business, when you get a little success, it's pretty quick to think, man, I did this. It's all nonsense. You may have painted the picture, but man, you can't do this alone. And so motivating, encouraging, and developing people is really hard. It is the hardest thing that I've learned. And by the way, learned is not, I mean, it is an active.
You're learning.
I'm learning every single day, and it's hard. It is really, really hard. And so that's what I think the hardest thing is understanding, one, it's not about you, caring about your people. And look, I'm a big Gary Vee guy, and there's a fine line between culture and kindness where it becomes kumbaya, and that's not what you're looking for. You need a culture of production, a culture of urgency, a culture that cares. And he talks about kindness, candor, and it is actually unkind to see people that are not performing and not address it. And so that was also one of the things. If you know DISC assessments, I'm a high I, which is probably very easy to see. And so that means I like people, and I like people to like me, but not being truthful when they're not performing, not being truthful when they're falling short, learning the art of saying, okay, I can either develop you, or we need to shake hands and move on, is the hardest thing that I'm continuing to learn. And then developing 4 or 5 people around you that share your vision and also are committed to developing it. That's what's really hard.
So the top 4 or 5 is what you're saying, that, feed into them as much as possible so they can go out and branch out and feed into everybody else.
Yeah, I don't think you can 4 to 6 direct reports that are carrying on your vision, or it's not just just at that point, at this size of a company, there's about 6 of us that are going, hey, this is what we believe our company is. This is what we believe we're about doing.
So you guys have a board and all that.
Yeah, we have a board of directors, which is separate from my team. But I have about 6 folks that I meet with every Monday morning, and then we spend some time together on Fridays usually, and we're just talking about, hey, this is what we've got to get done. This is how we've got to get it done, and really getting to the point where we're managing to results, not managing tasks, because some people can get things done differently, and you got to be open to that.
That's exciting. No, that's good. It's good that you have a team around you too, because you bounce off ideas from them. It's not just what Todd says. It's, let's say what's the best. This is my thought. What is your thought?
Yeah. Look, talk about another hard thing to learn is shut up and ask questions. So I can't, and I'm not very good at this, I can't give my opinion if I want theirs. At the end of the day, I'm still the boss, and folks still want to genuinely make me happy, even if they don't openly know that.
Yes.
If the question on the table is, hey, we need to figure out how to do this, and if I go, hey, I think we should do that,
everyone's just saying,
I've just stifled all discussion. And so I have a business coach, and I try to remember this, to write shut up and listen when I go into a meeting. And one of the things he's coached me to do is you get 3 questions. So not only does that mean you have to sit there through some really painful discussions that you know the answers to and let folks get through it, but if you shut up and you listen, and then you give yourself 3 questions, because when you ask those 3 questions, you're clearly guiding the conversation, and understanding that is tough, but we're getting there.
That's good. So you have a business coach.
Oh yeah.
So that's what, like a business mentor coach?
Yeah, so I have a guy, so I had a lady that was for years that helped me as we were growing from 3 stores to 4 stores, and we went from about 13 to 80 employees, and she was great. It just kind of helped me just from a straight management perspective. But I've had a business coach that works directly with myself and my team from the industry who's done this before for the last 3 or 4 years.
So you're a lucky man.
Yeah, look. If you're not looking to get better every day, stop.
Very true. Well, Todd with the quotes, man. Watch it.
Yeah, if you're not, this is tough.
Yeah, 100%.
It's tough.
and looking back to what you were saying earlier, pre-COVID, you had how many employees? 60?
80.
80, and now you have 200 plus.
About 240.
Okay, so you have 200 plus. So look at that, guys. COVID was just the other day.
Yeah.
So in 4 years, he has grown the company, 300% just in employees. And then all the stores. You guys had how many stores during COVID? 3?
Well, 4 to 13.
4 to 13. Yeah, from 4 to 13, guys. Listen to that. So think about just how much has gone into the urgency side, the making decisions side, the getting it done side. Just so much of growth. And that's what a lot of people have realized. Well, let's say a lot of people in our industry have been able to see that. But what I've seen is that some can handle it. Some get coaches. Some are looking to better themselves and actually keep it. And others think that they've made it. And it's all crumbling up underneath them because that's not how the reality is. The reality is that just doesn't happen. That was because there was a demand. And now to sell something is going to get tougher. I see it as time goes on. Things will get tighter, and you got to be a salesman. Now you got to show up to hit the ball. You can't strike out like Babe Ruth. You have to hit the ball like Babe Ruth, like the winner. So it's like, who's ready for that? What are you doing with your team? If you have a sales team, what are you teaching them? What are you talking to them about? All of this matters.
Yep.
You guys are getting ready for war. So whoever's around that they're not doing that they're on the yacht, they're on the Hatteras hanging out, fishing on a Tuesday, they're going to have to figure that out when that day comes.
Yep.
But Florida Coast is going to be there ready to rock and roll with everything set, with all the T's crossed, with all the I's dotted, and you're going to give it your all. If something was to happen, it happens, but Todd wasn't slacking.
No, look, in this business, you can't be on the sidelines because it's constantly changing. Look, one of our values is to deliver equipment solutions. I don't say sell tractors because I don't know. I mean, maybe this moves to a rental market. Maybe this moves to a consumption market. Maybe this moves to autonomy. I mean, we don't know what this is going to look like in 10 years. I mean, hell, ChatGPT has changed so much overnight for people. As you begin to use these things, who knows what's going to happen with technology? And so you've got to be kind of on that edge and looking for it. But you've also got to realize that this, that 4 to 13, it about killed me.
I bet.
And there's some bodies along the way in doing that because I go back to this, anybody can sell a tractor. But can someone say, I'm going to sell a tractor and truly support you after the sale? I mean, we see this all the time where dealers say, oh, we're here after the sale. Okay, well, what's your fleet of service trucks look like? Let me see your dealership. If you go to our dealerships, I pride myself on this. If we built it from scratch, and if we build the building from scratch, but if you look, of our 13 dealerships, one has a showroom.
One has a showroom?
One has a showroom. We invest our dollars in the back side of the business, not the front side. Now, being in Florida, you can put an awning and you can look at machines and stuff outside, and you've got good yards. But when you're going out and you're investing millions of dollars in a showroom and you got a cruddy shop, first of all, what does that tell your technicians? We don't care about your work environment. You go out there and die in that heat. But two, what does it tell your customer? I mean, look, a service truck to invest, anybody can buy a couple of acres of land and put up a sign and sell a tractor. But just one service truck is about $250,000 investment. One.
Right.
So if you're really investing, and look, we bought dealerships that had less than $300,000 of parts on the shelf when we bought them, and we were talking to customers saying, well, you can't get parts, Kubota can't get parts, Kubota can't get parts. No, it was just that dealer wasn't stocking. Those 3 stores that we bought today have over $1 million of parts.
Each one.
And that's what it takes, because you got to be able to walk in and get a part.
So on that, you guys, Kubota finances those parts for you guys?
No, that is the cash investment.
Oh, okay.
That is the cash investment. That once again, the technician wages, the service trucks, and the parts on the shelf, that's the dealer investment. And so that's when you find out. And the property, but property in Florida isn't really a gamble.
Yeah, no, not today.
Well, look over a 10-year period.
Yeah.
If you're in the
100%.
flipping business, you can get hurt in Florida. But if you're in the long-term business, the Florida property is great. It always has been. So that's a pretty safe bet. But when you start putting parts on the shelf,
That's a whole other world.
That's when you find out whether you're really in the business.
Oh, and you guys too. You're in the commercial side of real estate with Florida Coast, and that's the side that's the side to be in right now, because that's the slower market. So if you need it and you can create with it, you go get it. And long term play, you already know. Yeah, you'll be good. Man, almost everything I had written for you, we already talked about, and that was without even me going through it. Investing was one of my things. And I just want to pick your brain on it because you are a guy that, I don't know what you guys can move a year, 50 million, 100 million, I don't know. But investing is a big part of what we preach here and what we talk about. So to have a guest like you on, I don't want to just let it go. Investing, there's investing in yourself. Number one, I feel like that's very important. There's investing in yourself, but also like the profits. What would you say to a community of people that are looking to figure out, what should I do with my money? I made X amount last year. They're not familiar with it. They're not a investment guru like yourself, and they're on the sidelines of something. What would you tell that person in today's market?
Look, first of all, no way am I an investment guru. So here's what I tell people all the time. Here's what I tell people all the time is that you guys are in the plant business. Mm-hmm. I'm in the tractor business. Find smart people that can help you invest your dollars. But whatever you do, don't just harvest profits to your pocket. Okay. If you're in the harvesting profits business, that means you're in the spending business. Be in the investing business, whether you're, first and foremost, invest in yourself. I mean, Warren Buffett is right. Invest in yourself. Find 2 or 3 things and be really good at it. Don't be good at 20. You can't be. It's impossible. Invest in yourself, and then find people that you trust. Don't give the guy at the bar that has this great get rich. If you're going to get rich quick, run like hell. If it involves working really hard and you've got a little level of risk and you got time, that's what you're looking for. But look for really smart people that share your vision and go do that. I mean, people say, "Oh, do this, invest in that." Look, no. Look, let me tell you something. I know the tractor business, I know the equipment business, and I'll double down on that every single day. And that's what I would say. People find those things and do that. Also, get involved in stuff you love. I mean, I know that seems really simple, but I love this business. Mm-hmm. By the way, I never thought I would say I love the tractor business. I love the skid steer business. I love it, man. We get up every single day. I ride around with my kids, and we see orange machines on the side of the road, orange tractors. I've got this 11-year-old, and we call her Sriracha because she is spicy.
Sriracha.
And
I like that.
I mean, she is spicy, but I mean, she's passionate about it. And if you drive a John Deere, I mean, she's got something to say to you. It's pretty interesting, which I love. And but find something that you really love. And look, and I say this all the time, we're not in the business of selling tractors, man. We're in the business of really helping people, whether it's, feeding America. That's what a lot of Florida does. It's building the roads. Look, we are in a part of the world where we genuinely are changing lives. You can come to this country, not get into that politics of it, but you can come to this country, buy a mower and a weed eater, and truly change your stars. There's few places in the world that you can do that. I did not come from any type of wealth. I came from a single mom who worked her ass off. They gave me a lot of opportunity, and that's what I love doing. I love the fact that I'm proud that we have, I used to know this number by heart, but I bet there's 30 or 40 folks that work for us that make 6 figures. It's more than that. Wow. I really pride myself on the fact that people can come to work for us and can change their life. We've got a guy that came to work for us at one of our dealerships, young guy. I think he was making $18 an hour. He's one of the top paid employees in our company today, and he's not even 35 years old. And I love that we're able to do that for people. Mm-hmm. I love that folks can come in and buy a machine and we can help them do that for themselves. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we say, we're in the business of empowering Floridians to do more. And if they happen to use that with a Kubota, that's awesome. But that's really something we believe in. It's at my core.
Dude, you're a blessing, man. You don't even have to. So the videos that you're doing on social media, you don't even have to do those videos to sell. All you got to do is talk about your culture, and the real ones will show up at your door, man.
Look, you gotta. No, look, part of the reason I do the videos is much about Look, one of the things that I want you guys to repeat is that one of the things that we're committed to is that we want to update you every 48 hours. If you have a machine in our shop, if you've got a part on order, one of the things we're committed to is updating the customer every 48 hours. And we say whether that's an internal or external customer, because we have internal customers as well. I want to say that publicly. If we're not doing that, I want to know that. Because I can't promise you that I'm going to get your machine back to you in 48 hours. I can't promise you that I'm going to get you the part in 48 hours. But I can promise you we're going to do everything we can to do it, and we're going to let you know where we are. Because that way you can plan. And so part of the reason I do some of the stuff on social media is that way I'm putting it out there that, hey, this is what we're committed to. And if we're not living up to that, I want to know that. Not in a bad way. I just want to know how we get better, because we're going to fall short. Every day we're going to fall short at some level. And that's okay. We just got to learn from it and get better and make an effort every day to get it. And then look, the other stuff on the social media, look, I will be honest with you. I really hate doing it. But I told my wife this recently. I mean, I'll be a dancing bear if it sells mowers.
Exactly.
And it's okay, man. It works.
What I say is a little bit more rough. I say my plan B, it involves a red little thong.
If it works.
Whatever it takes, man, to sell a plant.
Look, there's so much noise.
Yeah.
How do you break through? There's so much noise.
Yeah.
And
you got to be creative, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like the content you guys put out, at least the last let's say 15 reels, have been hilarious, man. Just what, you're there and then you'll mess up, but then they keep it and they post it out there. Like, that's organic, real content. And that's what people want today. Not that that's going to sell you $10 million worth of mowers. It could. But it's the fact that people know who you are. So the guy on the reels is this gentleman right here, Mr. Todd. And Todd is real. He's a real human. Everyone wants to do everything so proper and so perfect when we know that that's not the reality of how life really is. We're all humans. But, man, you just touched so much. And then before we finish up, Big Orange, why did you feel, is that something that's been around or that's something that you implemented?
So we started Big Orange maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
And what was the story behind that?
So look, what we found is a guy may have a skid steer and a mini, but he's got a job where he needs an extra mini or needs an extra skid steer, but he doesn't need to buy it. And so once again, it goes back to empowering Floridians to do more, is that the guy a couple years ago maybe would have had to turn that job down. But man, I can get you another machine right away. We can support you grow your business.
And how does that work on the back end? Because you're not taking a brand new, whatever right off the shelf, or that's what you're doing.
Well, so that's one of the advantages, is that we probably have the newest fleet. We've got about $15 million in our rental fleet, and it's all usually within 2 years old. So it's brand new machines that we're putting out there. We're renting to customers.
Oh, wow.
And look, the nice thing about that is not everybody can afford a new machine. So one of the things that we have is that, we've got the 0% financing on the front end, but we traditionally have a few $1 million of inventory that we can finance, like 0 for 12 or 2.49 for 24, 3.49 for 48 months, or for 36 months. So we have good used fleet coming right out of Big Orange Rental that usually still has warranty, that can still be financed, and it's significantly cheaper than going with new product. But ultimately, it was there to support our existing customer base that needed something else. So we're if you're a landscaper, if you're in the road business, the housing business, pool business, plumbing, we kind of have a pretty niche market, and we saw there was a need for that. The big rental houses don't make sense for our small guys.
No, and there's not enough of them. Like out here, there was one, but the guy disappeared right when COVID came, and that's the guy that I would go to. Do you guys offer that at every store?
Yeah, all 13 locations. Yes, and the one in Homestead is just now getting fleet.
That's cool.
And as well, it has been hampered our growth on that because we couldn't get fleet. It was like, okay, do we grow our rental fleet or do we sell to customers?
Okay.
But now that we're getting fleet back,
yeah, you're getting stuff.
And then, they've got it there.
The main big brand name out here is Sunbelt Rentals. And if you guys can bring something where your service and just everything that you guys offer already, so much more pleasant, and the relationships and everything, like, obviously I feel like you guys are going to just create more opportunity for yourselves, your team, and everything else. So that's a big thing. So Big Orange, guys, if you guys are looking to rent anything and you're tired of dealing with Johnny Bravo Rentals, you call
Yep, we can take care of you.
Call up Florida Coast and these boys will take care of it for you. Oh, we had one more question. One thing I wanted to talk about was, do you know if Kubota, because one thing that is big, that we see it a lot in the mowing space, we follow some of our guys, the big podcasters, Paul Jameson, the Green Industry Podcast. He does a lot of stuff with the brands that are, and Kubota as well, that brands that are doing autonomy, that are doing electric. Have you guys implemented any of that in the stuff that you bring in when it comes to like electric? I know autonomy maybe not so much, but electric.
So I'm at a very interesting place on the electric, on the EV side of it. For the mowing, I think there could be a place for it, but it's going to be tough. There's a number of reasons. One, just the weight. Just the weight of a mower that's electric is a big problem.
It's a lot heavier than a regular mower.
Ton heavier.
Batteries.
So one, how are we moving it? Is your trailer big enough to move it? How are we charging it? I mean, I think EV, I understand where we are with it. I don't think it is a viable solution in the equipment world. Now, there's going to be something. Maybe it's hybrid. I don't know. But, and I'll give you an idea. And mini excavators make this a little bit easier for me to draw this comparison. But if you want to get an electric mini excavator and work at a job site, well, chances are there's no electric there yet. So that machine does not come back to the office every day. So now you've got to buy a diesel-powered generator to power your electric excavator. I just don't think we're there for it. I know Kubota's spending a ton of time on hydrogen and looking at other options. I don't know what the answer is. I don't think it's EV. If you look at the EV business model and you remove government subsidies, it is a massive loser. The grid can't handle it. Yeah. Look, recently when we moved into a new office building, one of the questions they asked us is how many EVs we have based on parking spots, because the car weighs so much more. Can the garage hold it?
Oh, wow.
I mean, there's tons of conversations not happening around EV. Oh, wow. So look, is everyone investing in it? Is everyone looking at it? Yes. Do I believe it is the solution? No. I'm not sure what that solution will be and what's going to be there. Autonomy is real. It is coming. It is much further along in Europe and Japan, probably more so in Japan than it is here. We have massive laws in barriers that are stopping us from getting to where I think autonomy can get there, but it is, and especially in the lawn care and maintenance side of it, I think it can get there, but it's a long way away, and the cost is huge.
Yeah, to even look into it.
No one's talking about that, but when you look at an electric mower, I mean, it's really expensive, it's really heavy. Then you want to do an electric mower with autonomy? I mean, you got to take a mortgage on your house for one. Probably. So how are you going to have a fleet of those? And so I think we're a long way away. I was at a meeting last year where they said, I think in either 7 to 12 years, the maximum amount of equipment that would be EV would be 5% of the market, which would be huge. But that just gives you an idea of how niche it still is. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we're a long way away from it. That's a long way of answering it. And I think this will be my last comment on it. It is very politically pushed, and I don't know that it's a solution or that it helps anybody.
Yeah. I love your honesty, man. Florida Coast, bro. You're going to get nothing but honesty from Mr. Todd. Last question we ask everybody. What do you see for the future of the green industry, which is what we're in, but let's say your industry, and the youth?
Man, at the end of the day, whether you're Gen X, you're a millennial, no matter what you are, you still have hopes, dreams, aspirations. And so I think you're going to have a lot more of the same. I think people think the world's constantly changing. I don't think it is. I think the folks that are willing to work hard, the folks that are willing to get up and put in the extra hours, they're going to continue to innovate. They're going to continue to create new things and new opportunities. And so, man, I think we have more of the same coming.
Yeah.
I don't believe that there's any sort of fundamental switch coming. Are our lives going to get easier as they constantly have? Are there going to be more tools? Yes, but at the end of the day, people still need people to take care of them.
100%. Todd, do you have anything else you would like to say to whoever's on the other side of that camera and who's listening to you in their car right now?
No, look, I say whatever it is you want to do, just work really hard at it. Find some smart people along the way. ask a lot of questions. And as much as the world continues to change, it's still about people. And as long as you know that, it'll work itself out.
Awesome. Guys, so this is Todd with Florida Coast Equipment, CEO/president that needs to get promoted to president so he can chill. You already know, guys, you're looking for a Kubota, you're looking to rent equipment, anything like that. Florida Coast Equipment, I vouch for them myself. I've been dealing with them for a while. Just bought another skid steer. Go check out Jason if you're down in South Florida. Let him know that the Plant Movement Podcast sent you. And Todd, man, thank you so much for your time. It's truly been a pleasure. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You stayed to the end of the podcast. And you already know, mention the podcast with Todd and let's see what he does. Awesome. Maybe he'll throw in a two-stroke oil for you.
Thank you for your time, man.
Thank you. Guys, you already know. We love you. God bless and stay tuned.
Time for the blueprint. Mindset, elevate, thrive, and demonstrate, planting a movement. Sow the seeds, educate the flourish, building up the team. Our network with purpose, industry is green. We've only scratched the surface, know this call is deep. Nobody gon' outwork us. Yeah, we chasing greatness, trying to give the code. Moving up with patience, foundation stone. Doing what it takes, we're here to break the mold. This for anyone who wanna level up. Let's grow.